Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Skies. Let's play Ardes. So, in the last two parts of working around our opera, and today we are pretty close to it. We are on the opposite side from the big main street there, and we are working on our university, or better said, it isn't actually a university, it's a polytechnical school, but this is kind of an university. I will talk about this in some minutes, but the first parts are just like me thinking I would use this vanilla asset, but then I thought about, yes, it isn't looking that good, and I decided to use another one. So I have the campus DLC since it came out, and I thought about this would be a great place for one of my modded series to get it in there, because normally I'm just building them when I'm playing vanilla, but I thought about this assets looking so cool, I think I can actually use them for my modded series too. So to get people to the university, we would have to get some people for our high schools because we don't have any high schools. So I just placed one there really quick, and I used the French one. I think it's actually called the French one or something like this. So it is basically one asset from Paris series or something like this. I don't actually remember the name, but you should find it when you search for, I think, for high school Paris or something like this. So right now I'm just like figuring out how I want to have everything surrounding the polytechnical school. I think this is the right pronunciation of it. And at first thought I would use this university here, but as I already said, I will change it later on. It is a vanilla asset, and I thought about it might look very cool, but I changed it then because I wasn't that much of a fan of it. And there you can just see me looking at these weird shapes and thinking about, nah, no, I won't take it. And there is already searching for another building that I could place there that would look pretty cool. So this episode is kind of a long one. It is about 43 minutes, 43 and 30 seconds I would say. And the reason for this is that it is a huge project of mine to build Polytechnical School, and we're also starting to detail the river. Why say we detail the river? Because we're starting off with a swamp, and this is just like also beneath of our highway, and this is basically something that I think is really cool. So this whole swamp will definitely be bigger later on. So there I was thinking about the Gloriette. This is something that is based in Vienna, and it's on a hill on by Schönbrunn. This is something kind of beautiful kind of gardens, and what is the word? Something kind of in cast, I would say. I don't remember the word in English, but I know it is in German. It is Schloss, and it is basically just like a place where not a celebrity, just like a king or a princess would stay, or something like this. So yes, here I was thinking about this one, but this is kind of too small. We will definitely place this one later on, but not in this spot, because in this spot I kind of just want to have something very big and fancy. And I think this was the point when I came to the conclusion to place something like this. And at first I wanted to use this one, but somehow there's a bug that it doesn't recognize itself as how's it called? It does recognize itself as an maintenance building or a definition building when I'm changing the trees, and this is also the problem with this. So I've changed it to the Polytechnical School and just plopped a building into another one to get rid of this problem. So this like whole campus is kind of a mix out of an American one and an European one. It has this typical large grass fields with some paths through it that are pretty typical in America, but it has this kind of feeling for it like an European school or an university. So actually the buildings are looking very much the same like the school that I'm in, and this was also the main reason for me to choose it. It is just like there I was looking at all the buildings that I could use, and there are so many cool ones, and yes, this is just amazing, I think. This whole thing has a lot of dorms, and it also has a cafeteria, a library, and some stuff like this. It is just like that I knew that this would be way less size, this small thing there, and we will also expand it. But at first I've wanted to keep it very small and just concentrate on one part of this whole thing. And this is then something that has grabbed hold, this idea of just working on one part at a time at the detailing, because I was just like switching, placing in trees and placing in pines, just like to get the look and the feel of a real campus. So this whole vanilla asset is looking so cool, I think. So the campus DLC is probably my favorite one, because I think it has the best looking buildings, and you could definitely use them if you want to make something like a realistic series. So this is something that I quite like and I think is pretty cool. So here, this is our small maintenance area there, and I'm deleting all the fences right now because this is just something pretty... I think this is just like something like a pretty generic building that you don't want to see when you're on the campus, so we'll definitely hide this later on. This is at about, I think, maybe 20 or something like this, we will start to detail it, and it is just like me thinking about how it would be kind of realistic, and yes. So this whole campus is, I think, coming out very well because it has a lot of green places, and it doesn't only have a lot of green places, it also has a lot of places where you can just like sit down and learn or just like relax and have a great time. And yes, this is actually something that I think is pretty important in schools. So there should be more schools with a lot of an kind of a school garden, maybe with something like a pavilion or something like this, because this is something that is actually getting the life better for all of the school members, not only the students but also the teachers. So we also have one in our school, and it is so cool when you can go out in March and just like chill in the sun, and it isn't too warm, it isn't too cold, so it's perfect to go outside and just relax for 10 minutes before you go back into the exam. Is exam the right word? No. Back into the school. So yes. So there was just like fencing everything in because it is kind of a private property, and it isn't just like something like where you would want people to go there. Then there I'm using this fence for the front because I think this is very cool. I love some chain fences like this because they are very much used, and I think they're looking kind of cool. So here I wanted to use a pillar, and I found one, but it was too big, so I used PO and sized him down. It was actually this one there. And then I choose this one and say it to PO. And then I've sized them down, and yes, this is just like something like a basic thing that I wanted to do, and it turned out nice, I think. So yes, I'm actually very happy with how the series turns out right now. The city's coming together nicely, and this is also something that you guys have realized, so thank you for your comments, all of you, and this is something very cool, I think, because this series, I wasn't sure in the beginning how it will turn out, but I think it's turning out very nice. It started with our very small Augustin Denal. This is a very small village that I haven't been visiting for the last 15 parts, I think, but this is definitely something very cool that I love about this whole series, and will definitely build, I think, 2 more of them. Also, this whole thing wasn't planned to be turning out into a big European city. It was meant to be in region with just some small villages in it, but this whole thing was so cool for me to build, so it was just something that I think is pretty cool, and I like how it's turning out, as I already said. So yes, right there, I'm just like making an entrance for it. I want to do it for more buildings from now on because it looks kind of more realistic, and you don't have to drive over the pavement to get there. So well, you have to drive over the pavement, but you don't have to drive over the curb. This is the word that I wanted to say, but I didn't remember it right now, so this is kind of awkward, but yes. So back to what I'm building. I'm just like here working on the layout for the paths, because this is something that I'm quite having a struggle with, because I wasn't ever on a big campus, so I had to do Google Maps, and I was searching for some England ones, for some German ones, for some Austrian ones, and also some American. Why American? Because I wanted to see the difference. Because I wanted to see where is it changing from European to American, and there aren't so many of them. Actually, European ones are often splitted from streets, so you have just like it, like for example in Vienna you have, I think, about 4 different blocks between a campus, so it can be that you have one exam in one, and you have to drive about with the tram. You have to drive about 5 minutes to your other like university part. This is something that I think is really cool because it is splitting it together for the themes. So you have the medical one, and for example, when you want to get to the technical one, you would have to drive with different trains and trams and metros. So this is something that is pretty cool. Actually, this is also something that I want to talk about. We need some better traffic, some better public transport, because the traffic is getting kind of bad. So it isn't a problem now, but this will be a problem, I think. Also, we just have 2 entrances for this whole area, you have to think. So we have to get a third one in. And this will be kind of a big intersection, because this won't only be the entrance to this whole thing. It would also lead into some... how should I call it? This would also lead into some kind of rural areas. So this would go into the countryside and stuff like this. So this is actually their university, the university library, I think, and it is sitting there quite on the edge of this whole campus. And this is basically, no, this isn't the library, I think, but this is just like a place where it's very calm and silent. So this is something pretty cool, I think. So the dorms are mainly on the front side of this whole thing. The reason for this is that I think the dorms should be pretty easy accessible for the people when you want to go there for, we say, 1 semester, and you're going there, you want to have an easy way there and don't want to get your package and your luggage through all of this area. So this is just my main reason for it, placing it on the main road. So I'm actually sorry for my voice right now, because it is kind of bad. It is just like I had quite a heavy school day. I came home at, I think, 18 o'clock, and it was about 18 o'clock. And this isn't that relaxing for me, because it is just like pretty exhausting to sit in school the whole day. And yes, this is actually something where YouTube helps me quite a lot, and this is something very cool, I think, for me, because it is just like a place. YouTube is for me a place where I can have some fun and just like enjoy my life and do what I want, because it is just like my hobby to do this. And this is, I think, one of my best hobbies that I have, because it isn't just like me playing a game and don't talking to anyone. It is me trying to do something like a YouTube series and having fun with it. So this was a little, not a lesson, this was like a little view into my life, I would say, but yes. So here I'm just like hiding the vanilla bushes. They're so ugly. I don't know why they're so ugly. This, no, just no. But yes, back to the video. Here I'm planting a little forest, and the reason for this is that I want to have it kind of a lot of nature, as already said, and that I want to have something like not everything artificial. I want to also have something kind of made from the nature and decided from the nature. So here also around the cafeteria, I was just planting some trees and making some overall detailing, because I think it isn't necessary to place everywhere some grass patches like I did in our small Augustin Denal, because it isn't needed that much to get so much things in there, because you can't look into every detail of this whole thing there. So here is this elevated highway, and this got me the idea that I could build there a swamp, and this I will also try it out in this episode. It's about minute 36, I think. But yeah, 36, it should be something around this mark or later on a bit. And this is something that I wanted to try, just like for if I could build a swamp, and I think it turned out pretty nicely, so yes, I can. So there was just like placing these grass patches. They're looking awesome, and I like them because they don't eat in so many frames. and they're giving the whole thing such a lush look. So this is definitely something positive. I was adding them only in the edges because I plan to build there some trees into the whole thing. And yes. So yes, here you can just like see me placing stuff, and these trees I wanted to give them along the pathway so that you have something like some spots that are fully in the sun, so you don't have to walk in, just like when you're walking in the time when you're walking on lunchtime. I don't know what I wanted to say, I'm sorry guys. When you're walking on lunchtime, you just want to kind of don't get an sunburn or something like this. It is always perfect if there are some trees nearby and you can just like rest at them. This is also something that I think is pretty cool on campuses, that you have a lot of free space where you could sit down and just like chill or relax. So yes. So this, like the road paths, my idea was that the people started just walking there, and then the campus thought about, okay, so we can adjust to this one and we can actually give them the freedom of going there, but don't destroy all of the grass, so we are making there some fixed gravel pathways. This is also something that is a pretty interesting thing. I've watched a video about this and also read a book about this, how these like small foot pathways that aren't supposed to be there are changing our life, in the meaning that the architecture is very much changing in this time right now, and that they're more thinking about where would people want to go to take a shortcut or something like this. And this is actually quite an interesting theme, so if you want to, I can give you a little book tip there in the comments. Not a book tip, a video tip, because a book I don't have it there right now. I would have to search it in my library. But this was something very cool, I think. So there I'm just like giving the whole thing more detail with some decals and getting in some dirt, because it is just like a very dry area right next to the sea, and the air isn't that like extremely wide, I would say, although there's a swamp nearby. So yes, this is something kind of an unlogical thing, I know, but no one has noticed it until now, so yes, we won't talk about it. So back to what I'm doing there. I'm just planting in some trees and just like getting in the struggle of how I want to build everything, but it is turning out quite nice in the end. So also we are adding some pine trees because I like the look of them breaking up the whole theme. So you have a lot of these small scrub trees, and then you have some bigger pine trees in there, so they're overlooking everything, and this is kind of a thing that I wanted to go with. Theme that I wanted to go with. So there I was adding more trees and more higher trees. So just like some junipers. I'm sorry I had to stretch right now, it's kind of late, it's actually 22 o'clock, but this should be okay. And yes, so it's just like me building stuff right now as always, and I'm building some more dorms, so we have space for 2,000 people in the end. And this is pretty good for us, because when we have space for 2,000 people, we right now have just 1,000 people in our university, so we have space to expand. And when this one is full, I'm planning to build another university, and this one will be the School of Arts or something like this it's called, I think, and this is what I'm planning to build then there. So yes, I'm right now just like building in all the pathways, and we will continue with this one. And I will right now leave you, and we'll see each other back when we are building the swamps at the end. And I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and if you're new to my channel, I would appreciate if you would consider liking this video, and if you want to see more, I would appreciate if you would also subscribe to me. It helps me a lot, it is free for you, and you will stay up to date for the videos. So it's basically a win-win situation, and yes, thank you. So, bye. Have a great day. So I'm back and we're starting off by building a swamp, and we're starting with placing some trees in there. And I was thinking about, okay, this whole area is looking so empty, and I actually did this on purpose when I created the map because I didn't want it to get so much FPS eaten by areas that I haven't built in, so that I could go back there and build them later on more detailed. So what I'm doing right there is just like placing in all of the trees and thinking about where would the water be, and this would be the areas where there wouldn't be any trees right now. So I've thought about this one there and got it in there. So what you can see me building there is, as already said, the trees, and I'm trying to get something like some, how should we call it? We get some kind of sticks sticking out, and these sticks are just like some plants that are actually growing into the water, and this is something I think that is looking kind of cool. So this was before I placed the rocks, and the rocks have one problem, they're buildings, so I will switch them to POs in one of the next episodes, and then there will be something like a slight change of the water flow, but this shouldn't be too much noticeable. Noticeable, yes. So there you can actually see a container ship going by, and you can see that this is actually a route for them to go. So I have to think about where it is driving and also where I can place some swamps, because this wouldn't be that good that you have an just like forest in the area where you would like to go with the ship. I can't talk right now. I don't know what's happening with me. Oh my god. But yes, so I'm right now just like struggling with getting the water in there, and it turns out pretty nicely in the end. It was just kind of hard then there to get everything on point at the first time, so this is actually my first time that I'm trying to work out with the water with some nature. I've did it once for our harbor, but this is actually quite some time ago. This was about, I think, 2 months. 2 months. Wait, let me have a look. It was actually 1 month, about 1 month to 2 months. So it's actually on the edge there. So we have about 10 videos per month. I think this is actually okay. And this is actually a rate that I want to keep up, something like this. And also our views are kind of fixed to 100 to 300 views, but I'm quite happy with this because there's still a lot of people that are liking my videos, and this is, I think, the main thing that I want to aim for. So as you can see there, it is just like looking kind of, I would say, mixed together, and this is actually also what I wanted to aim for, because and like forest is growing like it wants and not like the human wanted. So there it is, I think, looking very cool and beautiful. So I'm just like right now I was reflecting in the last episode about getting into a newer series in quite some time, but I think this will actually be around, not around Easter. It should be around somewhere in the summer holidays, so there's quite some time until then. This is about 4 months, and yes. So what I'm building there is just like I'm getting all the rocks into the perfect heights, because they're doing something with some weird stuff with the water, and this was actually when I realized it too. I had to work around this, but it did turn out quite well. Also, this area is I got kind of some ideas from the Rax. This is something like an hilly area in Austria, and the ideas that I got from it is the placement of the trees. They don't have some rivers there. Maybe they have some small ones, but not something like big ones. But the like kind of structural idea for the forest were like this. So this is an area where a lot of stone avalanches are going down, not a lot, but some, and this is also the reason for the trees to have some that the trees have built up some small groups, and that there are a lot of empty fields there. So this is definitely something that I also want to build somewhere there near the mountains. We haven't built anything near the mountains. This is actually a thing that I have to note myself, that we will build something in the mountains. This will maybe be a small mountain village or something like this, or maybe an wandering route over our trains, or over train tracks over there and stuff like this. So there will be coming more up. So this is also what I love about this series. I have so many things that I can build and so many styles because I have a small village, I have a big city, I have a swamp, we will have some mountainous areas, and we will have some larger field areas. So with everything that I want to build in a European styled city. So yes, there was a small cut right there. This was just like because right now we're very soon to the end of this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for watching, and hopefully you all have a great day, and hopefully it stays great. So yes, have a great day and bye.